same exact thing.
But how come it's not?
That's why this might be like you're just like clicked on the event and you're not.
We got to call. We got to get Tigran. We got to get Tigran in the line.
Where the fuck is it now?
Gotta bring it over to the middle screens. Get off that big screen. Just exit.
That's fine, I'll do it on mine.
We need to tell Tigran we're having troubles. Fuck.
I don't know why it's repeating that if you're muted.
Hey T, we're having some technical difficulties, and I'm not sure why. We've gone through the whole process, and we're supposed to be streaming now, and the stream is not coming through.
We're hearing you on the feed.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do. I don't know where that is.
Mute that. Mic on.
What's cracking, everybody? My name is Smart Guy Matt Sapaula here, hailing to you from Dallas, Texas, here at the PHP studio. And we are here for another episode of the PHP Podcast. And my co-host today is none other than, three times mommy and first generation cash flow millionaire of Guadalajara, now in Orange County, Marlene Gaytan. Marlene, welcome to the podcast. This is my co-host. How you doing?
I'm doing awesome, Matt. Good morning and hello, PHP.
And our guest today is none other than a college pastor turned entrepreneur. We're going to hear about him, Andrew Gaines, leading a team called Nobility in this episode of PHP Podcast, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. All right, we are in for a show today. We're going to talk about a little bit about what Marlene and I and the rest of the board council of the PHP Agency went through last week with our business planning meeting with Patrick Bet David. And we're going to be discussing a little bit of the nuances of how to create your business plan for 2022 to be the beginning of the greatest years of your financial life. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about Andrew Gaines. And guess what? In this episode, we got some giveaways. So we got a giveaway of free $50 cards to Starbucks today. But we got to have some questions from you. If we pick your question to answer, well, guess what? You're also going to earn a $50 gift. So make sure you talk to us and start chatting away in the live chats below. And we're going to talk about some current events happening in the news today about what's going on. You know, again, the government shutdown happening, trying to increase the debt limit. How does it affect your finances? How does it affect you? So with that being said, we'd like to introduce our guest today, all the way now from formerly Lodi, California, but right now here in D-Town, Dallas, Texas, recently relocated here, but coming from a college pastor background, turned entrepreneur. So this is perfect for those of you that think that, you know, being a Christian and being a faith-based type of person means it's more holy and more heavenly for you to be broke and just meek and content. We can talk about that. We might be a little controversial for some of you. And by the way, I want to ask his opinion too about what happened to Joel Osteen this week as well. So with that being said, welcome to the show, episode 31. Andrew Gaines, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing awesome. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Awesome.
So Marlene, we have some rapid fire questions for you, Andrew, to get the show started. So we want to get to know a little bit more of you. And Marlene's got some questions for you.
Yes, these questions are sent in by the audience. By the way, if you're watching this and you want to add to these questions for Andrew or maybe for our future guests, go ahead and write it in the chat box. Okay, so this is taking feedback from the audience, and we want to get to know Andrew Gaines. So we're going to ask you some fire questions. Okay, you ready, Andrew?
Let's play. Let's play.
Awesome. Andrew, what's your dream destination?
Bora Bora, but they require a vaccine now, which was unfortunate.
That's right. Dream car.
I don't have a dream car. What I want to dream own is like one of the original 26 copies of the Declaration of Independence.
All right. Okay, good. Favorite movie?
Anything Star Wars.
Anything Star Wars?
Anything.
I always find that you have a lot of patience for the trilogy. How many Star Wars are there?
Well, original canon, there's 3. Then they did the 3, then they did 9. But I think right now they're at 11 Star Wars movies, and they're making the 12th.
Wow. Okay, so it's like a whole series. Okay. Favorite book?
Outside of the Bible, No Excuses. Yes. No Excuses by Brian Tracy.
Okay, no excuses. Favorite color?
Blue and gold combination.
Blue and gold. Favorite superhero?
Iron Man, hands down. He has no real superpower. He built everything on his own from the ground up. Iron Man.
Iron Man. Okay, cool. Favorite sport?
I played basketball, so probably basketball. I don't really follow sports though.
What's that favorite food?
Anything Chinese food. Anything Chinese food.
Oh man, I went to this Asian restaurant yesterday. Now I know. Next time you're in town, we're taking you there. And your biggest goal to achieve in life?
I think it would be pretty sick if one day you got like the big house, right? You know, the dream house. You guys know what that is. I'm working on that. But you have the wine cellar. You walk down the wine cellar. It's 2 stories. It's all brick. I want to have a brick wall. And all that's on the wall are framed articles and things like this. I want to build 100 millionaires by the time I'm dead. Whether or not I ever get a statue, I don't care, but I want to have a wall of fame in my wine cellar of 100 people that I help become a millionaire before I'm dead. That's like my ultimate goal.
Wow.
Speaking of millionaire, you know, I was of course, one of my social media presence on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel called the 7 Figure Squad, and it's always about, you know, the thoughts like a millionaire, the strategy like a millionaire, so therefore you can become a first generation cash flow millionaire. So I want to break down real quick how one can become a millionaire. Right. So number one, Gaines, right? You could be an employee millionaire, right? So you can get a job and a corporate America, you can be an athlete in an NFL, an NBA, and somebody pays you $1 million. But sadly, Gaines, what happens when you're an employee and you make $1 million? What happens to your income?
Well, you make it over a long period of time, and the government takes most of it. So
taxes, correct. Second would be a lucky millionaire. Now, Marlene, how I just want to know. I'm just curious. In your TikTok video last week, right? What advice would you give somebody in your 20s? I think Ceci said, right? I think Ceci said,
Ceci stole the show. She stole the show. Ceci's advice on how to become a millionaire. She said, marry somebody rich. And it's of course an inside joke because, Ceci and Rodolfo started their business from scratch, right? But that's the fastest way. So if you're looking for a shortcut, she definitely had the best one.
So I call that, just like winning the lottery, I call that being a millionaire by luck, right? So you could be like a millionaire, you play the lottery, whatever. Third way to be a millionaire, which you get a little bit more in depth here, is you can be a paper millionaire, a net worth millionaire, right? So Gaines, have you ever met a real estate investor that on paper they're a millionaire, but when you ask them to invest, a few $100 into getting an insurance license, they don't have the money?
Yeah, I'm a little tight on cash right now. Yeah.
They got like alligator arms. Like I love to help more, but my hands are like this. I love to pay the check, but my hands are stuck right here.
T-Rex syndrome. T-Rex money syndrome.
Okay, so that's called net worth. And by the way, people that have a lot of life insurance, on paper they might be broke, but they have $1 million death benefit and life insurance policy. I think Gaines, Marlene, I think we've helped a lot of people create millions.
Yes, that's right.
Right.
Generational wealth passed down.
Right. And quite frankly, people think that you only have to die to become a millionaire. Nope. New life insurance policies today, if you suffer a heart attack, stroke, or cancer, or need help long-term care down in your older ages or times that you just can't be mobile, you can get money from your life insurance policy way before you're dead. And that's called living benefits. It's not a what do you call that, terminal illness rider. It's a living benefit, completely different thing. But we've Gaines and Marlene with TGA and the PHP Agency, we've helped a lot of people become paper millionaires. Another way to become a millionaire is you can be a millionaire with capital gains. No losses, just gains.
That's what's up.
So Gaines is like all these people, man, I'm going to be a cryptocurrency millionaire. I'm going to be a cryptocurrency millionaire. I'm going to be a NFT millionaire. I'm going to be a Forex millionaire. But the challenge with that is you buy low. Sure, you buy low. And then you sell high, right? But then what? Because you sold your position. Let's say you bought something at $100, then it becomes $10,000, but you sell it at $10,000. When you're over, you're done. So, but by the way, how many losses does one have to face before they find the right trade, before they find Bitcoin, to find the right stock, to find the right investment? In your experience, Gaines, how many people have you seen quote unquote day trade and yet they're not millionaires?
I was on the call just the other day with somebody who's a day trader, and they've been doing it for, I think, 9 years. Went through a bunch of courses, bunch of classes. We were on an appointment, and they were talking about it. And I mean, they make a little bit of money on the side, but they're still at their job. And I said, well, when do you foresee that being able to replace the job so you can just kind of do what you're doing? And they said, oh, I don't think it will. So going back to, I think it was point number 3, you said of just like you happen upon it, you just kind of scratched a lottery ticket, right? Outside of that, hey.
And the anxiety, I'll tell you as a woman, I think it's great for a portion of it to be that volatile, but I just think on your marriage, it's got to be tough. Raising a family's got to be tough because it is like winning the lotto. It's like when it's good, it's amazing. But then when it takes a hit, your personal life takes a hit. So I like the security of a portion, but then the rest, right? Having the liquidity to have that peace of mind.
Yeah, Marlene, I mean, you're living in a good neighborhood these days, right? You live in a beautiful neighborhood. What's your neighborhood called?
We just moved to Coto de Casa in Orange County. So I had never heard of it. I've only been in Orange County for 2 years. And they said that's where the real housewives of OC live. So I'm like, no way. So when I haven't met any of them yet, I haven't been invited to any of the Botox parties yet. But when I drive in the morning, I do see the ladies with the fancy strollers, right? And I'm like, man, like these housewives look like they're having a good time.
Let me see. Here's something you probably don't know about one of the real housewives of Orange County. I met her a couple of years ago at the Insurance Newsnet conference. Her name is Vicki Gunvalson. Okay, she's one of the original housewives of Orange County. Guess what she does for a career? Stab in the dark.
Insurance?
Yeah, she does insurance.
Really? Oh, we're neighbors. That's cool.
Yeah, she started, and guess where she started? My former neck of the woods. She started in Chicago.
Wow.
In 1991, and she's got now a life insurance agency, and she's right there. She's one of your neighbors, Marlene. And guess what she does? Dinner seminars. seminars.
Still.
Yeah,
Still, wow. I wonder how those are going now with COVID, right?
Yeah.
Like with like older people, like I have an associate here, he's 70 years old, and he says, I love you, I love the meetings, but I'm too old to be around so many people. And I thought, I'm not 70 years old. I don't know what it's like to have, peers around me pass away, but, I really thought that was a concern of his. So, I wonder how those are going these days.
Yeah, and a lot of them are, believe it or not, they're shifting to Zoom. Think about this, Marlene. Guys, let's think about this real quick. Because oftentimes people think that they can just run their business, our business, insurance business, through Zoom and Zoom only. And so I want to send fair warning to a lot of people that think that way, because check this out. Imagine if Patrick said, Marlene, TGA, Mobility, MSM, WTP, everybody, all the teams and all the companies with inside the company here at PHP Agency, we're now going to have a great initiative here in 2020. It's called Zoom. What? Yes, we're shutting down your weekly offices meetings, your weekly meetings, your full-timers meetings on Mondays, your Saturday morning meetings, and we're going to shut everything down, and everybody's going to shift to Zoom. And the world was still operating as normal. There was no pandemic. The world is still operating as normal. I'm just curious. Let's kind of hypothesize what that world could have looked like. Marlene, what's your take on that?
I mean, Matt, this week our office has been just insane. Monday night, we must have had almost 150 people show up to just our phone zone. And I can't imagine. I think the introverts like being on camera, and it's a blessing for the moms who just pulled their kids out of school and they're homeschooling, and you're able to, sell an insurance policy a week and make $2,000 for the week. That's a blessing for so many people. But just like we need, sunlight, just like we need that vitamin D, we need that human interaction. And I do feel that the extroverts take the hit. And me for one, I would be super, super depressed if I didn't get a chance to be around an environment that pours into you, that helps build you as an entrepreneur, but also as an individual. Yeah,
I mean, I'm going to be pulling up a picture here in a second of what your office looked like. I mean, Jose took a killer picture of what that looked like. Gaines, what happens if you just decide to shift your business 100%, no local meetings, it was just 100% on Zoom?
So I think, like Marlene said, Zoom's a great tool, but that's it. It's a tool. It's not a lifestyle platform. We've been kind of doing some A/B testing, because I've got an organization that we're responsible for serving that's on Zoom, and they're around the country in 17 different states. And as you know, Matt, we've moved here to Dallas, and we're cracking open this office. Tonight, you and I, we're going to be in person at the AC Hotel, rocking and rolling, which is awesome. But there's people that we've actually had come and just stay with us for a week, shadow with us bodily, in person for a week, be with us, and we've seen their productivity triple. We've seen not their skill set go up, just their productivity triple, just being in person. So I think if somebody wants their dreams and goals to take a long time, you can be in a non-connected format, but we're human beings, not human doings. And we were made for community, we're made for connectivity, and there's nothing like being in person, having the transfer of energy, communication, connection, the lunches, the conversations. You can't do that on Zoom.
100% agree. Marlene, explain this picture. You guys look like you're pissed off, and you guys.
You know what? Absolutely. We were a little pissed off, this year, as an organization, it wasn't our best year. I think, you and Sheena carried a lot of the weight for the company. And this was our commitment to the company that, we're going to be the #1 flag carriers. We want the company to say, you know what, we're killing it just on TGA's revenues. So we had a huddle with all of our brokers. People flew in, people drove hours and hours to come together. We went over our business planning, as a whole, but, we're just super fired up. I know people wait till the new year's like, new year, new me. Why are you waiting? The year has already started. And if you don't feel that you're being left behind already, then maybe you're just not fired up yet. Maybe you're just not excited. You need something to be excited about. But this has been our office on Saturday, on Sunday, on Monday, on Tuesday. It has just been so jam-packed. So that's why I think if we didn't have this and it was all via Zoom to build that same culture, people fly in just to experience this, people fly in from across the country to get a chance to be around this environment.
What day was this picture taken?
Sunday.
This is Sunday.
Yes. My kids call Sunday Fun Day, Daddy Day. This was on Sunday.
So let's demystify some myths, because sometimes people say, you know what? it's family and weekends is devoted to that. And obviously, we look at life a little bit differently. For all the people that are saying that in the back, say, Marlene, Saturday, weekends should only be dedicated to family.
It's a filtering system. We called a meeting on the most inconvenient day, had people fly in, drive in, because we wanted to see who was going to show up.
What day did you call the meeting? Was it coming out of this business planning meeting here in Dallas?
Yes. So
2 days notice.
It was 2 days notice. It was on a Sunday. It was totally inconvenient, but it's a filtering system to see who was going to make it happen. Because for the people, and by the way, we do love our Sundays. We do love our family days. That's our church time. But going into the business, into the new year, we wanted to find out who is in the hunt, who is serious about making a leveling up, who's serious about transformation. And these are the people that showed up. So those are the people that we're most excited about, the people that we're going to lock onto.
Gaines, I want to ask you this question because what's getting a lot of bad press today, especially during this whole great resignation, where people are just leaving their jobs because I just really want to reprioritize my life. The pandemic had me realize that I don't have the right work-life balance, that my priorities are out of whack. But then again, I stumbled across this little book that's kind of stood the test of human history. It's called the Bible. And I wanted your perspective from a Christian's perspective, because in my understanding of the Bible, even God himself had to work. He had to work 6 days before he earned his day off. He had to put in effort to create the universe at his level. So God at his level was working, creating everything. But then he looked back on the 7 days saying, yep, yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I mean, here's the opposite of what's being taught today. Just sit home, chill, relax, somebody's going to take care of you. Vote us in because we'll take care of you. We'll have public policy to make sure we take care of you. Because we're going to force government, we're going to force the government to force employers to raise income tax incomes to $15 an hour, $20 an hour, $25 an hour, blah, 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 all this type of stuff. It's completely going opposite. And the values and principles that we teach within PHP Agency, which for some people might not even be attractive because, we believe that success, it takes work. To have something that lasts, it takes work. Can you comment and shed a little bit of light about, what Marlene just did here with TGA, working on a Sunday? And I know they're big believers too as well. Marlene, how many people did you and Jose lead to Christ at Shepherd of the Hills Church with Pastor Dudley Rutherford?
So prior to moving Orange County, we were members of Shepherd of the Hills Church. This is in the San Fernando Valley for, I want to say almost 12 years. So there were so many times in my career where I met the client and they're like, you know what, I want to invest, but I just lost my job, or I'm going through a divorce, or I'm going through a tough time, or they were going through something in their life. So I would just say, what are you doing Sunday morning? And they said nothing. I said, okay, great. Meet me at this address. I think we did that for so many years that we probably baptized a couple hundred agents that were introduced to this church, which, by the way, I haven't found a church in Orange County as great as Shepherd of the Hills. So I miss that so much about the Valley, but it was just, that's the only thing we could do for people. Sometimes people don't need us yet. They need Jesus first. And there's so many people that were introduced, that were baptized, that still go to that church. Their families go to that church. Marriages were saved because they go to that church, so it's nice to be able to incorporate both, But going back to what you were saying about working on Sunday, a lot of people, they think it's work, but guys, we have so much fun. I had one of our associates here last night. Her name is Laura. She's been with UPS for like 22 years. She makes high six figures. Like, she's like the boss. She's the boss of like everything, right? And she says, I'm so bored. She says, I have to wear browns. Browns is my uniform. And I'm looking at your videos and I want to quit my job because I'm just so bored. Like, after doing something for 20 some years, I just want to have fun. I just want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I thought about it for the people watching this. We're going into a new year. You got to ask yourself, you have one life to live. Do you like your career? Like, are you excited? Are you passionate about it? Because if you're not, it isn't just about the money. It's about the one life that we were gifted that people are wasting, So we don't feel it as work. Our kids come to the office. We're going to go to lunch right after school together. We don't feel it as work because we have so much fun along the way.
And I think going back to even to what you were saying, like, I don't buy into work-life balance. I don't know who came up with that. I don't know why it got coined. It sounds like a great justification for people who want to, like, you know, protect their comfort zone. And I'm not meaning to take shots at somebody who, like, you know, really is has their dream life going 9 to 5. If that's your dream life, listen, okay, cool for you. I think maybe you could think bigger. I think maybe there's more capacity, purpose, destiny God's locked inside of you that maybe your job's not pulling out of you. But I don't buy into the philosophy of solving for work-life balance. I solve for rhythm. I solve for momentum. Because even if you look in nature, like, everything has seasons and cycles, and there's always progress being made. You know, even in winter, things are happening. Life is changing, evolving, but things are moving. There's a rhythm, there's a cycle. And so, you know, when people are like, oh, Sabbath, I would hear this all the time as a college pastor. I can't work on Sunday because it's Sabbath. And I was always looking like, you know, Sabbath is Saturday, right? Like, if you're really, like, all up in arms worried about what the Bible says, you know you're doing it on the wrong day, right? But the reality is that even in the Bible it says that the Sabbath was made for man. Man wasn't made for the Sabbath. And if your ox falls into a ditch, if somebody's car breaks down on a Sunday, are you going to say, oh, sorry, can't help you? No, you're going to go get a rope. You're going to go pull the car, go pull the ox out of a ditch. And so I think people misconstrue work, they misconstrue rest, and they misconstrue balance, because I also don't think sitting in front of a TV for 5 hours watching people play a sport is rest. That may be entertainment. Oh, I'm resting today. I got the game on. Okay, you can make a choice about what you want to do for entertainment. I'm not judging that, but don't call it rest. That's not like refueling you. This morning we got up, right? We went to the gym. We got our protein shake. Giving energy fuels, because in life, whatever you sow is what you're going to reap. So that people have bought into, I think largely in America, that non-activity is rejuvenating. That's not true, because you don't give what you keep. You give, you receive what you give. So when you give energy, you feel more energized. When you, give to other people, when you pour into the people, when you chase purpose, not just chasing a paycheck, you end up getting more. So I think there's a larger kind of conversation inside the American psyche that people are beginning to tap into with the Great Resignation of what you're talking about, because they're feeling a lack of fulfillment, and they're thinking it's going to get solved with work-life balance. Give it 6 to 10 months, people will get fed up with realizing it's not work-life balance. They're still bored because they're not chasing purpose.
Right.
Because Marlene, is what you do work?
No. I can't believe I get paid for what I do. Like, I'm so lucky that I married such a responsible man, because my husband is so much like your wife, Sheena. You know, I call him the CEO. So, you know, he like looks at reports and accounting and, you know, numbers. And, you know, we were in Dallas with our coach, and we were going over business planning, and I'm looking at formulas and numbers. And in my mind, I'm like singing a song. I'm like, I'm so tuned out. I'm so checked out. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I'm married to somebody that does that, because that is so not me. It's not me. And it's funny because the only thing I got from meeting with our CEO, we went over our business plan, and I met Patrick when I was 23 years old. My first business plan was, hey, can I make 6 figures in the insurance business? Like, 23 years old, you know, I'm broke. I don't have gas to go to the office. My phone is getting turned off because I couldn't pay the bill. 23 years old, broke, thinking, can I make 100,000? Now we're meeting with our CEO to go over a business plan so that our business, our organization can do $40 million in revenue, $40 million, right? And sometimes, you know, it sounds cliche, like, oh, a book will give you that aha moment, or your mentor will give you that aha moment. But I have to tell you, I experienced that aha moment because my coach, my mentor, reminded me that I do best when I'm in an emotional state and not in a logical state, right? Like when I'm fired up, when I'm emotional, when I have, you know, something to prove, that drives me, that fuels me. And so for me, this isn't work. This is just fun. I tell people, what do you do? I'm like, I host parties. I hang out with girlfriends. I make TikToks, and I pour into people. Like, I have the funnest career on the whole planet.
Check this out. If our CEO obviously runs a YouTube channel called Valuetainment, and Valuetainment has just become a new company that Patrick wasn't anticipating on starting, but evolved into it. And lots of times people find our CEO because of Valuetainment. 3 million subs, and he's created a community called Valuetainers. And if you want to participate in his virtual business planning event, and we're just looking at it, it's for his time a 2-hour private session Q&A for 100 people. So it's not even individual attention. Marlene, how many people were we in last Wednesday, Thursday? Thursday,
Oh,
Friday.
it was just five qualifiers.
It was you,
Five.
your husband, your brother,
Yes.
sister, Vargas's, and then Sheena and I. So there's 8 people in the room.
But mostly couples, yes.
All couples.
Yes.
Small, intimate.
Yes. Yes. And if Patrick had said, hey, it's $100,000 to meet with me, it's so worth it. It's so worth it to have somebody that has built multiple companies, that has, grown the brands to what they are today, to have that level of thinking. And what's incredible about our mentor is that he sees your business in a different light that you don't see yourself. So it's 100% worth it to pay whatever amount it is to have this exponential growth. Absolutely.
So let's create some takeaways for our viewers and anybody's watching the replay, whether you're watching live or replay. And they say, I'm looking to achieve, quote unquote, work-life balance in 2022. What words of guidance would you give them? And Gaines, I'll start with you. Marlene next, and I'll give my third point too as well, which will, and I'll make sure it's complimentary to you guys. By the way, this is not scripted, everybody. This is not scripted. But what is your number one point for somebody that says, I want to achieve work-life balance in 2022 to have the greatest financial years of my life? And I say the person you're answering this question to is either a brand new associate at PHP, they just came on board, or someone that's watching this and checking out PHP and they're thinking about coming on board.
Yeah, I don't buy into work-life balance. I believe you can integrate all the pieces of your life. I think you can have a great marriage, you have a great family, have a strong faith, have a cranking business. You could be growing in your body, in your mind, your spirit. I think you can have all those things happening simultaneously if you work in an environment with mentors, with coaches, with accountability that constantly is keeping you in check that you're doing that. So if someone's looking for an integrated, fulfilled, purposeful 2022 that just blows the doors off of any year they've ever had in terms of fulfillment, growth, things like that, there's 2 words that I'm driving our entire organization around, and it's hunger. It's hunger factor. It's like, what are you hungry for? And so I would say for someone on this call, you got to figure out what is it you're hungry for. And it may not be what was put in front of you. Maybe your parents said, hey, you should go get a degree, but you don't have any kind of hunger factor for that. Maybe you have a certain mile marker that you're supposed to hit in terms of income in your family or your community, but you're not hungry for that. You got to figure out what you're hungry for. Because if you're not really hungry for the thing you're setting ahead of you that you're chasing, you'll fizzle out, you'll die out, you'll drop the ball, you'll stop doing the behaviors, habits, and disciplines required to get there. So you've got to, number 1, figure out what you're hungry for. Number 2, excitement. You got to figure out what you're excited about. Because if you can dig down deep and find your hunger factor and chase that, and you can figure out what your next is that you want to achieve, you want to accomplish, you want to do, you want to travel, you want to give, you want to experience, and you can keep that in your vision, excitement and hunger is going to drive everything. So if you really want to find a work, life, family, faith, money, integrated blueprint that's going to allow you to blow up in 2022, it's hunger factor and excitement, and identifying those 2 things super clearly.
Love it. Marlene?
Yeah. I always say that happiness is growth. The only people on the planet that are happy are people that are growing. This is why children are so happy, because they're always growing. They're always learning something new. That's why they say, look what I can do, mom, right? So that's true happiness. The only people that I think have this bitterness, this resentful of oh, I work too much, are the people that know that they are secretly have bad habits and they're not giving it their all. The people that say, oh, but I was at the office all day, scrolling through your Instagram does not qualify as work. So they have this internal guilt, and then they go home and they're like, oh, I didn't bring home the bacon, or I didn't see my kids. They only feel guilty because in that moment, they know they could have done more. So they self-sabotage, I believe.
My guidance would be, and Marlene's got no insurance agency background, insurance business background. Gaines has no insurance business background, college pastor. I have no insurance business background. I was a helicopter mechanic in the Marine Corps. I was a door gunner in the air and door gunner on missions. The last thing I know is about sales. But here's what I do know. I always had this dream of making a lot of money. I was stationed there in Marlene's neck of woods right now, which is Orange County. And I remember leaving the base right there in Red Hill, of the Red Hill exit off of Red Hill and off the I-5 freeway. And I go down to Tustin Marketplace. I go down to Irvine Spectrum. I go down to Newport Beach. And you know what? I couldn't afford anything. I'm making $20,000 a year, but stationed and based in one of the richest cities and communities in America, Orange County. San Clemente, definitely couldn't do anything. We had to go to the state parks, Oceanside State Beach, right? We had to go to this place where it's free to get access to. So my outcome was very clear. I wanted to make money. I didn't know what I was going to do. I don't know where I was going to get it done. Was going to be getting an airframes and power plant slices to work for Boeing to be a mechanic on airplanes. A bottom line for me, my outcome going into the next year was I want to make money. And guess what I discovered coming into the insurance industry? Completely by accident. I wish I could say I was smart enough to find an insurance industry, which if you were to Google, the industry most likely to make a millionaire is what? Financial services and the insurance industry. Us, what we do. I wish I was smart enough to say, hey, 2.2 GPA student in high school, United States Marine Corps sergeant. I wish I was smart enough to say, make an intelligent decision, say, hey, I'm going to choose to work in the, nah, that wasn't me. This stumbled across me. So if you got somebody out there following up with you, calling from our industry, calling from our company, and you want to make a lot of money in 2022, you should consider returning their call back and have a serious conversation about this. The second thing I would give to you is, are they proven? Is what they say true? Not necessarily through them, but through the platform and the company they represent. Because right here, we have a platform, we have a blueprint. Here, we put all of our best practices in how to build an insurance agency. We have a manual here that Marlene Gaytan and Jose and all of our board council or the chairman's council and company helped create this manual on how to sell life insurance, right? Which in many states, this is considered continuing education. We'll teach you how to sell life insurance. We'll teach you how to do a retirement plan. We'll teach you how to do advanced cases. We'll teach you how to structure policies. We'll teach you how to do the annuity tic-tac-toe, okay? We'll show you how to explain and educate people about money. Revocable living trusts, buy-sell agreements, wealth replacement case studies. We'll show you these things. We'll teach you these things. This is easy, but you got to surround yourself with people that's creating an environment for you to marinate and soak in this knowledge and information and put yourself around proven mentors. Like, who wouldn't love to be around a Marlene Gaytan making $1 million a year? Who would love to be around Andrew Gaines making multiple six figures a year alongside his Jennifer, who prophetically, potentially may have a child one day, soon. Who knows? But these are the environments. Who would love to hang around in Houston with our friends, Rodolfo and Ceci Vargas, crushing $1.5 million in income immigrants from El Salvador? Who wouldn't want to be in that environment? Who wouldn't want to be in Orlando to hang around John Mason, who's making $900,000 a year, just bought himself a Lambo, a Huracan with $60,000 of upgrades, and bought an AMG 60, GLS 63 AMG as his daily driver because you can't drive that Lambo every day. We got to be hanging around these people because they've proven that this works. And once I decided to hang around the right people in the year ahead, guess what started happening to my life? My language started to change. My behavior started to change. My activity started to change. And guess what then created? My results started to change.
Hey, Matt, I have a question. You said that you always wanted to be rich. You knew that because, you knew what it was like to be without. And I think everybody kind of relates to that, like, hey, I want to be a millionaire one day. But going back to your career, when you've had exponential growth, did you think that you had that growth because there was somebody that you had to prove wrong? How much did that drive you and how much did you grow? Because I think everybody on this podcast this morning, I think can relate to somebody that said, hey, you can't do it. Or maybe it was a parent that said, hey, you're never going to make it. Or maybe it's an ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend that left you because they said, hey, you're not going to make it. Like those moments, what was it that drove you to become the Matt Sapaula? Because it is the, I want to be a millionaire, that song, so flippin' bad. But what was it in the dark moments that willed you, that said, you know what, I don't want to wake up early, I don't want to show up, but what was it that fueled you?
I wish I could tell you, Marlene, Andrew, and for those of you watching, I wish I could tell you the nice, politically correct answer. I wanted opportunity. I want to create a great life. No, that wasn't me. You know what got me? I said, why are these people living a life I like to live and I'm not? I started getting angry about the situation. I almost slipped into victim mentality, saying, oh, there's nothing I can ever do that can allow myself to live in a house like that or drive a car like that. I almost slipped into victim mentality, like I was helpless. I almost fell into that type of mentality. And so I was just angry enough. Marlene, I was motivated by pain and anger. I was pissed off. Why is certain people living a life? Why is life beating me up? Why do I got my back against the ropes all the time? How come I keep getting low blows with life? How come I'm going through this breakup? How come I'm going through this divorce? How come I'm going through this bankruptcy? How come I'm just reacting to life? What are these people doing that I'm not doing? So, Marlene, to answer your question in a nutshell, I was pissed. And for those of you watching this, I don't know if you're pissed. I don't know if you're angry enough about your situation. I want you to know that being broke is not okay. Being broke, being poor, and being contentment, that's not okay. Because that's what you're going to pass on to the next generation. Imagine if your kids, Lukey, Preston, Elon, hey guys, mommy and daddy, we're just so, stuck on this situation. I want you to know, Preston, Lukey, Elon, I want you to know, you can't really do much about life. You just kind of like deal with life and do the best you can, and and hopefully you get to where you want to go. Hopefully, hope is not a financial strategy.
Yeah, Matt, I wanted to share a story with you because, we're going into the holidays. I remember 12 years ago, we started our business. This is my husband and I, and we were so broke. Our families didn't believe in us. My parents said, you're never going to make it. You're such a dreamer. My siblings used to make fun of me. So every time I would go over for the holidays, they would start making, are you a millionaire yet? How's that thing working out? Are you a millionaire yet? And I remember this Christmas in particular, it had been our worst year yet. If you've ever started a business, and by the way, it could be a restaurant, it could be anything, that there's no profit in the beginning when you're starting a business. So we were at that phase, like that season, like Andrew Gaines said, that season in our lives. And I remember it was Christmas Eve, and I said, you know what? I don't want to go to your family's house, and I don't want to go to my family's house because they all suck, right? They're going to make fun of us, and it's horrible. And, we weren't killing it. And I remember my husband bought me these socks, and they were $10 socks because my feet are always cold, and that's what he could afford. It was these $10 socks. And I remember in that moment, I thought, well, why did you spend $10 on socks? We could have used that for gas, right? These were our conversations, Matt. These was like our biggest worry, right? So maybe somebody here is thinking, you know what? I can't buy the gifts that I want for my kids for Christmas. I can't get my wife that ring that she really wanted. I can't get my mom, that vacation that she needs because she's getting older, right? It was at Christmas that I said, never again. Like, I will never experience another Christmas like this as long as I live. I felt like Scarlett O'Hara in Gone with the Wind, right? I will never go hungry again. That's how I felt, right? So if that's you and that's the season in your life that you're in, I hope that it hits home, and I hope that it cuts a little bit to say, hey, what's going to change about me so that I can attract a new life?
I mean, that's a profound thing. That's a profound thing. See how this conversation just triggered something in a lot of people. You remembered socks and gas. You're comparing socks versus gas.
Yes.
And that to me was a situation I'm pissed off in. Why do I have to choose? Some people out there right now, I got to choose between medication or food. In this era, I'm not talking about senior citizens. I'm just talking about your average person. How come more people don't see their doctor on a more regular basis? You know why? Because they don't have time. They don't have time, or they make time because they feel they always got to be working something. They don't take care of their physical bodies. And what happens to their physical bodies? Something goes wrong. They don't know about it for years, and they find out too late. And certain conditions may come up, and sadly, things are probably hard to reverse.
Yes. Hey, just switching gears really quickly. Andrew Gaines is one of our favorite guys in the whole company. My husband has been such a fan of Andrew Gaines since he was an FA driving from Rancho Cucamonga to Ventura, which is like a 3.5-hour drive twice a week to attend meetings. So my husband is just such a big believer of Andrew, in the Gaines family. But Andrew, you're a youth pastor. Youth pastor, how does a youth pastor end up in the insurance world? And I say this because there may be somebody watching that says, hey, my uncle's a pastor. My sister works at a church, right? How does somebody transition from that's your career, you're a youth pastor, to now you run a successful national organization?
Like Matt said, I'd love to have some perfect story of answer of, it was this and I was ambitious and I was driven. Honestly, it got to a point where it was rough because after 0809, when the market crashed, my mom and dad, a lot of not good things happened financially with our family right after 0809, like a lot of folks. And I was working in a nonprofit. I was doing media and podcasts, and I was working as a college pastor at a church. And I was in LA. I was only making $50,000 a year, $60,000 a year, which is nothing, especially in LA. And I just kind of got to a point where I thought, man, if I ever want to be able to give Jennifer the life that I promised her when I put a ring on her finger, if I want to actually come through as a man, if I want to come through, if I want to be able to make sure that my parents don't end up one day in a situation financially where they're in major trouble and I can't do anything about it, the idea of not being able to come through motivated me to say, I've got to find another way. And I think a lot of times one of the challenges that I see faced when people have a faith background or they're in a leadership position, they're in a church role, and this is certainly not a condemnation of anybody, it's an observation of myself and folks that I've worked with. It's easy to, Matt used the word content, to justify our own contentment. Well, this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm doing good work. And we think that like doing good is the metric rather than fulfilling our life's purpose being the metric. And for me, I just thought there's no way in the world that my life's purpose is to clock in, clock out, but not be able to come through for my family, not be able to come through for my mom and dad, not be able to come through when my family needs it. I mean, the idea of not being able to be there when somebody needs you and you were put in a role where that's what you're supposed to be doing, I said, that's not good, that's not God, that's not what we signed up for. So I stumbled into the insurance industry. I accidentally got invited to a training way back in the day. And I just thought, man, if this is a place where I can help people do better financially for my family, but it's actually a road that's going to get me to be able to come through for the people that I love, let's give it a shot. And it turned into something incredible and powerful, and it's been amazing. But I would ask anybody on the call who's watching, if they're content with the impact that they're having currently, if they're content with the income they're making currently, if they're content with just what they're doing and there's nothing wrong with that, I would really challenge them and ask themselves, if a lot of stuff went wrong, what's so great about not being in a position to give? If really giving and being there for others and loving people, if that's what they're, if it's really better to give than to receive, then how is it good to be in a spot where you're needed and you can't give? And you have to ask for help. There's nothing holy about being in a spot where you have to receive and you can't give. So
get some of that. Well, at this point of the podcast, this we can go on, keep going with this thing. But what are your questions for you watching this right now? For those of you watching this live, what are your questions? What would you love First Generation Cash Flow Millionaire Board Counsel Marlene Gaytan to answer for you? What would you like former college pastor, turned entrepreneur, multiple six-figure income earner, future board counsel of PHP Agency, Andrew and Jennifer Gaines? What would you love for him to answer for you in your perspective, your questions? And as you're formulating your questions right now, think about your questions: business, entrepreneurship, how you get involved in business, rallying yourself, creating a business plan for next year, getting people rallied through this holiday season, what we call the season of excuses in entrepreneurs. What are your questions? We'd love to answer you. And then to remind you, if we pick your question, we're going to give you a $50 gift card, and we're going to give you an email address to make sure you claim that gift card if we pick your question as something we're going to answer. So as you guys are formulating your question, I want to ask you, Andrew, who are you most excited about right now in the business? What's some of these success stories you have of new agents coming to, whether they're the marketing director level, whether at the brand new associate level? Who are you excited most about right now in all of Nobility? And I want you to be able to back it. So therefore, people in Nobility who's watching this, I want you to think it's not favoritism, but I also want you to back it up with data and numbers and gives us some facts and details why you are excited about that.
So I think on the podcast, everybody heard from David Sika. He and his wife, Alyssa, they're crushing it. Mid-20s, Southern California, made $69,000 in a month. Just turned it on this year, crushed it. You saw them on the podcast, super proud of them. Chris and Steph Solis, they're in Montebello, California. They're in Southern California. They're rocking and rolling. They were the number one brokers from an expansion standpoint last month. They're just crushing the game, running for a vice president position as well. Super excited about them. They were on the podcast as well. You saw Chris. So you kind of heard from them. Two people that I'm excited that are coming up. One is you got Alexis and Kaylee Robinson. They've been coming up fast. And Tim and Christy Sickpe are coming up fast. And that's data on numbers. Last 90 days, expansion, building, things like this, what they're doing in their agency. I'm excited about them. Both are biracial couples. Both come from like sports competitive background. Both faith-based. Both have kids. And so they're just representing, in my mind, the American dream of family, faith, business, all in the right space, going somewhere, chasing purpose, not chasing a paycheck. I'm super excited about what they're doing. But there's 2 women in the organization, and they're not yet brokers with us, but they're coming up quick. And they're the number 1 and 2 personal builders. One is Caitlin Cowan. Caitlin Cowan, military background. You'd love her, Matt. Military background, just on point, ferocious but compassionate. And she ran a company that did, it was like a celebrity protection, celebrity bodyguard. She would like do that kind of stuff. Come out of the military, she would have kind of did that. And in the last, I don't even know what it is, last 90 days, she's brought aboard 53 agents personally just in the last like 85, 90 days. Just doing what she's doing, 60 to 80 days. Proud of her, crushing it. She's about to be one of the brokers. The company's going to know who Caitlin Cowan is. Second one is Aona Claiborne. Aona Claiborne's in Reno, and a single mom, has a full-time job, works 40, 50 hours a week, has a couple kids, and still with all that, crushing it. She could become a marketing director this year. She's gotten 34 personal business partners last 65 days. Just absolutely dialed in, focused, coachable. And so these 2 women, man, they laced it up. They got the gloves, and they're pounding away at the wall. The company's going to know who these 2 folks are. I'm excited about them.
All right, guys, if they're watching right now, make sure you put your comment in the comment section below. Say, oh my God, Andrew mentioned my name. Put it in the comment section below. So therefore, if people are watching the replay of this or watching the comments of this, they can see your name on YouTube. They can potentially follow you on social media too as well, create a little bit of marketing for you since you got your name dropped here on the PHP podcast. Marlene, your entire organization of TGA, how many millions of business are you guys going to wrap up this year in terms of total points submitted? How much volume of business have you done?
Gosh, I want to say we're at over 25 million already, and this will probably be our biggest year. So,
we're not even counting our business that we invested in together, which is what's 50%.
That's right.
Add another 5 million to that.
That's right.
So 30 million.
Yes.
So your TGA in 2021 in the pandemic of multiple variants. with the variant, and now we got the Omicron variant outside of the Alpha variant. 25 plus 5, $30 million of life insurance business.
Yes. And I'm excited about, we have a lot of veterans like Chris and Mary Phelps just became chairman's councils. They're killing it. Elvana is about to become the next VP and she's killing it, but I'm excited about the new people, the new ring earners. Salvador Corral, that's about to get his ring. We have Omaida in Fresno that's close to getting her ring. Tobin Short is a non-broker. Yeah. And military background, and he's not even a broker, he just got his ring. And the newest people, we have Martin and Kim in our Bay shop that are about to become brokers, just unofficial brokers, and they're probably going to be making over $30,000. And they're young, good-looking couple in their 20s. Last night we have a new couple, which was an NCL from Ricky and Erica Aguilar. Did their first $300,000 rollover. This is a former teacher, married, young kids, they're new licensed agents. This was their first rollover they've ever done. But to see the stories of the new people and new stories being created is just such a beautiful thing.
I'm gonna take a just one particular aspect of this data point. I'm just based on cash flow, right? Of course, cash flow is not indicative of future results, but I'm just saying, here's the people I'm just excited about. I'm just answering it differently. Of the people in the last 90 days since October 1st who made the most money in my organization. So I gotta give a shout out to Gautam and Gabby Aurora, made $32,000 last 90 days, last October, November, going on 90 days. What was that? 70 days, 77 days, right? Am I correct in saying that? Gautam and Gabby. Who else here? Edwin Jamie Musgrove, $45,000 in cash flow. Last 70 days. Check this one out. Here's a name that a lot of people don't hear about. Iris and Enoch Santiago out of my Oakbrook office, Suite 230, $47,000 since October.
Right.
And they're coming up. Mackie, super proud of Mackie, $65,000 in the last 70 days. And John Mason always find a way to make money, $170,000 in cash flow the last 77 days. So these are some of the guys I'm excited about. So let's take some of your questions. By the way, we can go on and on about this, but if Marlene Gaytan just gave you a name drop on this PHP podcast and you're part of that on TGA, make sure you drop it in the comment section below. Oh my gosh, Marlene, give me a shout out. That's my name. So people will know who you are. And drop an Instagram link there too as well. So people know who you are and why people should be excited about you, and they can start following you on Instagram too as well. All right. So we got a bunch of questions here in the comment section. So, and if you haven't done so already, make sure you share this episode. I think there's a lot of jam-packed conversation. This episode, I can't believe it's already at close to the top of the hour. So make sure you share this podcast too as well with your team, your organization, and those that you think might be considering a big move in their career, in the finances and income in 2022. Okay. She's just a consistent person here asking all the time. Let's talk to Miriam Rivera. Okay. Miriam Rivera, my purpose is helping young ladies who are and were abused and looking for mentors and are still mentoring the youth as a pastor. And how are you combining in PHP as well? So Gaines, why don't you go fire away and ask that question? So how are you combining somebody who's wanting to mentor ladies that were abused and they're looking for mentorship? They might be looking at Miriam Rivera, but how do you integrate a business conversation alongside it too as well?
So if you're in like the conversation about their pain, how do you transition it to business? Is that the question?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
I mean, I think you really got to ask the question. I'm not a licensed therapist. I'm not a licensed counselor. I'm none of that. But certainly I've been around a lot of people's pain and a lot of people's problems with the nature of the work that we've been in. And sometimes people need a community more than they need a career. And so I think inviting people into community can be a way to help them find their own voice and help them find their legs. And, you know, I think it gets tricky when somebody's in a space where they're really wrestling through pain. Some people are really mentally tough, and when they're going through it, what they need is to be challenged, get their focus on something, and really go after something. Other people, if you're not that mentally tough, I mean, you know, you kind of got to find your voice, you got to find your legs and go through that development process. But I think you do that in community. I don't think you do that in isolation. And so the biggest conversation I would have with folks is like, hey, what communities are you in that are helping you find your voice, find your legs, and chasing something bigger than what's going on right now?
Huge. Yep. Because there's one thing to be around it. Listen, I've been through these, when I was going through my processing out of the military, I had to take 60 days of counseling for PTSD.
Sure.
Counseling PTSD. And I tell you this, I never found value in the counseling session because we kept talking about the same damn problem over and over and over. And the more I talked about the problem, the more I kept reliving it. It was, to me, it didn't really happen. And when I was done with it, they gave me this pink certificate. I remember showing this to Sheena. I said, babe, listen, I guess I had PTSD and all this stuff. I didn't realize I was going through what I was going through. She looked at it, wow. And it was a pink certificate, an annoying color to give a Billy Bad Marine a certificate. How come just that can't be black and white, but it had to be pink? I don't know. Anyway, I went to Sheena because it was kind of like a ceremonious thing. I wish I kept it, but there's a ceremonious thing that Sheena and I went to a shredder and we shredded it to kind of symbolize that we're shredding this part of my life, that I'm no longer going to be revisiting this. And the challenge is if you keep talking about the same problem over and over and over, and you have an outlet get you to start moving forward, you're always going to talk about the same old problem, same old problem, same old problem. And that monster is still constantly, that beast is still constantly in your rear view mirror. And then you're trying to drive forward. You're looking at the rear view mirror, trying to drive forward. What happens? You know, you hurt yourself. You sadly hurt somebody else. But imagine if you shifted your focus and now you're looking at the windshield, the front windshield. And the more you keep hitting the gas and that beast starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Not to say that you've ever forgotten it, but it becomes less relevant in your life.
But you bring up a good point that like a mentor's job is to help your life move forward, and some people aren't ready for their life to move forward.
Yeah, true. Yeah, you gotta let go. Forgive, let go. As hard as that may be. Forgive, let go, and close that chapter in your life. Marlene, this question goes to you from Straight SRT Doll. SRT Doll. I think that's Stephanie. How do you recharge your day, Marlene? How do you charge when the day did not go as planned according to your calendar?
Okay. So, actually, I was funny because I was looking at that question. A lot of people think, I have to recharge. And I've done both. I've done, where it's like, I have to unwind and, get into a hot bath, and that's going to help me recharge. But what I've noticed the next day, it's like, I don't have exponential growth. I find that when you're actually on a run, That's why people have momentum when they're going on a run. When they're chasing something, you don't need to recharge because you're excited about where you're going. So, my question would be, are you clear and are you excited? Because you know how we said people come home and they're like, oh, I have to watch Netflix to recharge. You're not recharging. You're just not excited. You're just bored with your life. Because I find that the harder I work, like I can work 100 hours, but if I'm super excited about what I'm doing, I'm not tired. I don't need to recharge. I don't need energy. So, I would probably say, have you gone over your not just business plan, but maybe your vision board? Like, do you know what the next version of you is? What does that person look like? What do they talk like? How do they dress? And if you're a woman, that's why I say change the outfit, change the attire, because you change the person. When I used to take theater classes, I'm not an actress, but one of my dreams is to own my own theater hall because I like the arts and I want to be a Mexicana that has a theater hall that contributes to the arts, right? But when we took theater class, they make you dress in full costume, full rehearsal, because you need to dress like the character that you're going to play so that you feel internally like that character that you're going to play. So if that character is a marketing director that's making $100,000, how does that person show up? Maybe you're not that person, but act like that person, because eventually your brain won't know the difference.
By the way, Gaines, could you imagine that? Hey, where's the concert at? Oh, didn't you hear? It's at the Marlene Gaytan Performance Center.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
Wow.
That's what's up.
The where? Like Staples just changed their name to crypto.com. Well, they're going to change the Performance Center one day to the Marlene Gaytan Performance Center. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Marlene. Fired up. Another question. By the way, both Miriam Rivera and SRT Doll Stephanie, make sure you email Tigran at phpagency.com to claim your $50 gift certificate. Okay. Tigran, and I think Paul will help put the email address in the chat box. Make sure you email Tigran at phpagency.com to claim your $50 gift certificate because we picked your questions. Okay. Gaines, if you're looking at it, once you pick one, I picked two. Gaines, you're our guest.
I don't have that what you're looking at pulled up in front of me in terms of the chat.
Marlene, can you look at the chat? Can you pick out a question? And maybe I'll chime in.
Yeah, Nana, I'll say, what does your typical day look like, and what does your Sunday look like? I will say this, guys. Like, we work really hard, but most Sundays, guys, it's our family time. My husband has every minute of the day planned with our boys. So we wake up, we go to church, we go have lunch, we go to D5, which is like this jumping trampoline things, right? We plan something for the family. So we tell the kids, hey, this Sunday, that's what they call it, Sunday Fun Day, Daddy Day. To them, Daddy is the greatest superhero of all time. Preston will ask me, Mommy, but who's better? Who could win? Is it Iron Man or Daddy? What? It's your daddy. But what about the Hulk? Is it Hulk or Daddy? I'm like, it's Daddy. He's like, but Mommy, Hulk is really, really big. I'm like, no, your daddy's the best. So the kids idolize, that is their superhero. So Sunday, it's just quality time. Towards the end of the evening, we do call associates. We do a little bit of business planning, but we have a blast. And for people that say you don't do both, it doesn't resonate with me, right? Now, the rest of the week, do we work hard? Yes, we do. What does a typical day look like? It depends, on a Monday, we were here from early morning till late night. People got on the Peloton because we're going to kill the hearts, by the way, in this competition with the Peloton. So don't tell the hearts, but SOS, we're coming for you, right? But guys, we had such a blast doing it. We had such a fun day. Our kids were in the office, they do homework here. So, you get a chance to do both.
I love it. By the way, on my 7 Figure Squad YouTube channel, I have a new video because I'm doing a Vlogmas run, which means every day from the 1st of December to the 24th of December, I'm putting up a video every day for 24 straight days called Vlogmas. It's part of the YouTuber community. But one of those episodes, I think it was the second day, day 2 of Vlogmas, December 2nd, was my millionaire morning routine. So when you check out the millionaire morning routine, you can check out this video there with my what that is like for me. We'll do one more. We'll do one more here. I like this. I like the questions we're getting, the engagement that we're getting here. I would like these questions. Again, do you have it pull up on your end, or I'll ask Marlene to pick another question?
Rocket.
Okay, Marlene, pick another question. By the way, who was that? Who was that you answered a question from? So therefore, they can claim their $50 gift certificate.
Nana Osei.
Nana Osei. Okay.
Nana Osei, yes. So Marcus Jean is asking, when should I look for office space? Is it too soon or too late? Marcus, I would say the sooner the better. There's a book, it's called Skin in the Game. The only people that win are people that have skin in the game. I remember being brand new and I paid an office plugin to just, show up and guys, it was that investment. Working with Patrick Bet-David, this was back in 2009. One thing that Patrick taught us is that nothing in life is free. Like I remember being in his office, and if I needed a piece of paper, his assistant used to charge us 10 cents per piece of paper because he wanted to teach us to be independent entrepreneurs. Because if I pay 10 cents for a piece of paper, I won't mind, hiring an assistant or having office space. So I would say, put your back against the wall, because the more I taught a marriage seminar last week, and I said, men love what they put effort in. So if you want a man to fall in love with you, you have to make him work for it. He has to put in the effort to chase you, because men are hunters. Likewise, the human spirit is very similar. If you want to be an entrepreneur at the highest level, you have to put in that sacrifice, that skin in the game, because otherwise you don't appreciate it, because you could have done more.
And by the way, Marcus, not bad. He started with us in August. This was his biggest cash flow. He works his business on a part-time basis. He's a full-time assistant chef at a major diner. So if I mentioned to you the name, you know exactly where he works. And I'm pretty sure Marlene, Andrew, you know exactly what you would order for that menu from this particular restaurant. We're not giving them any free advertising right now, but he's an assistant. He works literally 60 hours a week, 70 hours a week. And part-time, he made $1,900 with his part-time last month. So it's not something to be bashful about. My first month was making $400. So more power to, and he's out in New Hampshire. Is that the way you said, New Hampshire or New Hampshire? What do I know? New Hampshire. So guys, if you've been watching this podcast, I hope you've liked the episode, podcast 31. I hope you subscribe to it. As we wrap up, Andrew, any final thoughts? We'll give you a couple minutes here. What are your final thoughts here as people are planning for dangerous December, planning into the remainder of the month, into the beginning of January? Your thoughts?
Our CEO asked a question on the VP call, the vice president call yesterday, where he said, hey, are you like highly optimistic about 2022 being the greatest year of your life? And everybody said yes. And so for folks in this call, I'd say, are you highly optimistic about 2022 being the greatest year of life because you're going to make it the greatest year? If the answer is no, you should started that last month. You should get highly optimistic about what could be in store for you if you really decided to change some habits, change some disciplines. And if you're not optimistic, I would say identify what are the two biggest habits that hurt you this year. What are the two habits that you had that you should have kicked, or what are the two habits that you didn't pick up that you should have that could change the game for you? But the follow-up question he asked is, are you optimistic about it? He said, why? Where is your optimism coming from? And some people had answers of, from the economy, from this, I think this is going to change. And a lot of it was external. And I would simply tell folks, if you can have the locus of control, the center of gravity of your optimism of 2022 being something internal that you control, habits, behaviors, what you're going to change, what you've decided to change, your own personal growth, you're going to have optimism that's sustained, and you're going to go crush it in 2022.
Marlene, same question to you. Final thoughts?
Yes, thank you. For the people that are watching this that maybe, I'm not having fun, I'm bored, I'm unmotivated, I am watching Netflix because there's nothing exciting to chase. What's next? Reach out to somebody here in PHP, because this month is such an awesome month. We're going to be doing business planning, strategy sessions. We're going to be doing vision boards. And maybe you're watching this and you've said, I've had a 9-to-5. I've never done that in my whole life. Well, come to one of our local offices so you can see what you're missing out on. Come experience it so that this next year could be the greatest year of your life.
Yeah, guys, some amazing things are happening in December. The number one reason why We call this dangerous December. It's dangerous actually two different ways. Number one, it's dangerous to think that next year, you're just going to wait till next year to start moving. It's dangerous to think that you're going to procrastinate again another 3 weeks for you to start a brand new year on January 1st. It's dangerous to think that, well, everybody else is doing it, Matt. Everybody else is taking off. Everybody else is going on vacation. Everybody else is, yeah, but everybody else is usually broke. Everybody usually is not reaching their maximum capacity in life. Most everybody else isn't living the fulfillment and purpose of their life. Most everybody else isn't excited about next year because what do we know about gyms in January and February? They're packed. What do we know about gyms in March? They're empty again. Because the purpose of them getting financially fit was so damn superficial. It wasn't because they want to be more energized. It was because I wanted a six pack. I want a six pack. Listen, man, you want six pack or six figures? Do you want a seven? You want 7 pack or 7 figures? Is there such thing as a 7 pack? But you know the answer to that question. And it can also be dangerous because if you choose, say, you know what? Okay, I get it now, Matt. Everybody's doing this. Everybody's chilling. Everybody's taking it easy. Everybody's settling down. By the way, the last week of this month will be very interesting because Christmas is Friday, Saturday. New Year's Friday, Saturday. It'll be interesting what people do that last week of December. That last week of December, you're really going to completely check out because, it's going to go holiday. Because you know what doesn't check out? Here, I'll tell you something that doesn't check out. Your bills. Your bills don't check out. Matter of fact, come January, they're most likely better than your spending habits during Black Friday and this holiday season. Your bills are probably going to be greater in January than they were in December because you were bought into becoming a consumer versus being a producer, builder. And you got to figure out what it is that you want here, because if you buy into the fact that it could be dangerous, because I could really pass up and lap a lot of people. I've made millions by treating my evenings and weekends and holidays differently. And by the way, it's holiday, not Halloween, not Month. For those of you December babies, it's December birthday, not birthday month. Marlene, how many times have you said, what's my birthday month? It's my birthday week. Guys, it's a birthday, one day. And by the way, if you do things right and you're living out in your purpose, you're living out with fulfillment, you're living out with integration, with encapsulating this whole conversation every day, then if you control your income, you understand your purpose and what you're fulfilled about, every day then becomes Black Friday. Every day becomes your birthday. Every day is Mother's Day. Every day is Father's Day. Every day is your anniversary. Every day is your birthday. Every day you celebrate and say, hey, every day I woke up today. This is the day that the Lord has made. I'm fired about it. I will be rejoicing and be glad with this opportunity. Good or bad, you're growing today. So that's my 2 cents. And the question for you is, are you going to get off this podcast? You're going to watch this live stream. You're going to watch the replay of this and say, we'll go back to normal, chilling like a villain. Well, here, if you want to be financial independent, it's going to demand the best of you. And you just need a few things. You need a system. You need a process. You need a proven mentor. And if you're looking around, we got this. We got this. It isn't about buying leads. It isn't about getting leads. It's about building your life, getting the life you decide. And when you hang around Andrew and Jennifer Gaines, when you hang around Jose Marlene Gaytan, you hang around people that are operating at a different vibration level, intensity level, and they're unwilling and unreasonable to lower their standards to make you feel comfortable. No, they're going to be right here and they expect you to, hey, you better raise your game to be at this level. And you may not like me in the process, but I guarantee you're going to love the results. So that being said, appreciate you guys tuning into this podcast. I had a blast with you. Andrew, had a blast with you, man. Marlene, had a blast with you. So if you haven't done so, make sure you follow Andrew Gaines. His @handle is right here. He's smart about Andrew D. Gaines on Instagram. And make sure you follow Marlene Gaytan on Instagram. Very easy to find. And Marlene, what do we got to do about these fake accounts? Trying to pose as us, man. It's such an annoying thing. Gaines, you got some fake accounts that are posing as you try to get people to Bitcoin, right?
Always. Yeah. They took one of me on stage holding when we built a top 10 office in PHP first 6 months from scratch. They took the photo of me standing with Patrick. They photoshopped out top office and they put a big Bitcoin on it of me on stage holding it. Like I'm getting recognized for Bitcoin. I'm like, that's pretty creative. I don't know who's got time to do that. I think maybe they're just bitter they weren't there at the beginning of Bitcoin, or else they'd have so much money they wouldn't be worried about it. Why don't you just go build your money? Why don't you just go build it, man? It's crazy.
Yeah, Marley, we got to get rid of these fake accounts, man, and trying to pose as you, trying to get people into Bitcoin. So, all right, with that being said, guys, on behalf of Andrew Gaines, Marlene Gaytan, I'm your smart guy here from Dallas, Texas. If you've done so already, make sure you click like, subscribe, and hit notifications to be alerted next time we upload and go live on the next episode. With that being said, every Wednesday we're here at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time from PHP Studios to do a PHP podcast. On behalf of Marlene and Andrew Gaines, I'm your smart guy, and until we meet again, continue to help people, continue to love people, and continue to change your lives today. God bless you guys. Have a great rest of the week. See you next Wednesday. Let's get on the leaders bulletin, baby. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.